Today, our guest is Paul Kaplan. Paul Kaplan graduated from Northwestern University and started his career in advertising at Leo Burnett, Chicago. He worked at Burnett for 3 years before moving to Hollywood to break into the entertainment industry as a television writer. Primarily a sitcom writer, over the last 25 years, Paul has worked on 15 series and 400 produced episodes of television. Most notably, his credits include Spin City producer, Just Shoot Me supervising producer, George Lopez executive producer, and Raising Hope co-executive producer. He has also rewritten several features for studios, including Warner Brothers, Disney, Fox, and Universal, to name a few. Paul is currently preparing to pitch 2 TV series and is finishing up his first novel. Welcome to Yentas in the City, Paul. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Well, you know, I'll tell you something about Karen. You know, you already met us. You know that Karen has been my friend for 36 years. But I'll tell you, Karen has a bucket list since we were 14. And one of her bucket lists was to sing with Taylor Dane. So we got that done. And she sang a song with her.
Did you know that I sang with her?
Where is this go? How am I going to be with Taylor Dane? Where is this going?
Well, we should go out to dinner, all of us. We're actually going to go with her to dinner. I think that would be a fun dinner to attend. But I'll tell you, one thing that I used to hear from Karen over the years, when we used to watch the George Lopez show, she used to.
That's where it's going.
This is where it's going.
Yeah.
Etty, I don't know who the writers are. They're so good. I would like to meet them. Who produced this? How can they think about these funny things?
I know, the writing is amazing. You are an amazing writer, and
It's not a whole big group of people.
I am a super fan, super fan.
There's a good group of writers, great group of people. And
So-
George was involved too. He was in the writer's room a lot. He was involved.
Oh, he was involved in the writing as well?
Absolutely. I mean, during production, he got busy, but in pre-production, he was there because, you know, we wanted all the stories to really be reflective of his life.
Right.
I want to ask you something. Did he ever tell you guys to take something out, or I don't like this, I don't feel comfortable doing certain things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did. I don't remember, but we all did that. I mean, we all said, I don't like this or I don't like that, but he actually was great about, he would try things. Like if he didn't like something, he trusted us enough that he usually would try something. And then if it didn't work, we all heard that it didn't work and we took it out. But you know, the show, he has such a specific voice that, you know, once you kind of got in the groove of that show, you knew exactly what he would do and he wouldn't.
And what he's looking for.
And what was good for him and what wasn't good for him. But yeah, no, he was very, he was good to work with in that way. And because he had such a specific point of view, you know, so it made it easier for us.
So I want to tell you, we're going back to the bucket list. So at the good friend that I am, I want Karen to, oh, do you like that, Karen? Because Karen, like about 2-3 months ago, she would go, test me. You know, I was at her house. She watches a rerun 10 times and she still won't leave. She knows what, I'm like, Karen, you watched this 1,000 times. Let's just go. No, meet me there. So I tested her. She goes, test me. I know everything about the George Lopez. And I did. Trust me, it was almost 100 questions. She knew them all.
Uh-oh.
I decided.
I know where this is going and I'm in trouble.
You're in trouble. Okay, so the winner, you guys want to know what the winner gets?
Woo!
How much money?
Whatever restaurant you guys want.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I better win.
Paul is like, that's not a big price. You know, I don't care about losing.
I got my bell.
got
You're going
the
to
bell.
kill me.
There's
Let me,
my bell.
before we do this, let me just point something out. When you work on a show like that, especially Lopez, we did a lot of episodes. You kind of like, you're in the COVID bubble before COVID. You're cranking out those episodes. I watch them sometimes. If there's one on now and I'm flipping around, I'll see it. I'll say, oh, that's pretty good. I don't think I was on. I don't remember that one. And of course I was there. I don't kill me. Like I remember certain things, but I don't remember specifics. So it was a while ago and I did so many of them and they just kind of, they're all a blur. So we'll see. Depends how specific the questions are.
So, okay, so let's go. Are you okay? So these are the rules of the game. There will be like about 5 or 6 questions, multiple choice. You have to, I'm going to tell you how many multiple choices there are.
Okay.
When you ring the bell, say your name because there is no way for me to know who rang the bell.
So like this, I'll say, Karen, A. The answer is A. Karen, A.
Okay. Okay, are you guys ready?
When you hit it and you say Karen, I'm going to say Paul over Karen. And
And you have to wait till she says all of the answers, right? We have to wait till you read them all?
Oh, and this is me. I go, Karen, do you want to look good and for me to show you the questions?
so I have to wait. Even if I hear the correct answer, I have to wait.
Yeah, we have to,
All right, that's
Are you
gonna be
ready,
weird.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm ready. I got
Are
this.
you ready?
Because if not, I would just ring the bell now and say, Karen, without even reading the question. Because I know the answer.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what disorder is Max diagnosed with along with his father, George? No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say. All right, go. I'm sorry. You're right. I already know.
Okay, whoever says it first. Attention deficit disorder, asthma, diabetes, or dyslexia?
Karen, dyslexia.
What is it?
Dyslexia.
It's wrong. No, I'm joking.
Está loca.
Paul, are you ready?
I'm ready. I was slow on that. I knew it. I clicked it right away and I knew it, but I lost. I'm really upset about this now. All right, go.
Max had a nightmare that Benny was chasing him around the house. What was she chasing him with? A knife, an axe, or a car?
Karen, a
Did
knife.
you know that one, Paul?
I have no idea.
A knife.
What is it?
A knife.
Oh, very good, Karen. Why am I not surprised?
It's so easy.
What is the name of the bar that George and his friends hanged out?
You know this, Paul.
Of course I do, but the question is, am I going to be as quick as you kid hitting the bell?
Okay, go. Thirsty, Captain Morgan, The Lobo, El Dorado.
Paul,
Oh,
let me have that one. It's Thursday.
Okay.
You let me have that, though.
okay, so 1-1. Is somebody keeping the score? Okay.
All right, what is
This one
it?
has three answers
Hey,
only.
you didn't answer yet.
He did.
Oh, did you answer? I didn't hear
Yeah.
it.
I got it right.
Okay.
He got it right. What did Piper write on Carmen's locker? Carmen can't say Nopes. Carmen Opes. Carmen Upres. Urpres.
Karen, Carmen can't say Lopez. A.
Oh, isn't that funny that an ESL is reading those things? I can't even read what
I
it
don't remember that at all. All right, go on.
Okay. What STD does Benny get from Randy? Gonorrhea, herpes, hepatitis, chlamydia, or crabs?
Gonorrhea.
You didn't say Karen.
Karen gonorrhea.
You're so much faster than me. I actually knew that one too.
Paul, get with the program.
That was based on me because I had gonorrhea so many times when I was on the show. Constantly. We all did. All right, go on.
Okay, so when Max and Carmen spend the night at Benny's, what does Benny think they would say about the tap water? Ooh, it's slightly yellow. It's slightly brown. It's slightly dirty. Or they didn't use the water at all. Come on, Paul.
Karen. Ew, it's slightly yellow.
You're crazy. Now there is no multiple. Come on, Paul.
I didn't remember that.
Okay, so there's two. I'm going to ask 2 questions. No multiple choices. Just ring it if you know
All
the
right,
answer.
let me ask a question.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. What was the writer's favorite restaurant?
The right.
A. I'm kidding.
Oh.
The Outback?
I'm actually going to have you ask her.
Don Cuco's?
Your
It was
favorite restaurant.
Oh, it was the
Okay,
Outback.
the last two.
There's no multiple choice here?
No multiple choice. Paul, come on, you're disappointing me.
All right, I told you I was going to get all
I'm
these.
starting to feel hurt that you don't want to go to dinner with me.
Are you guys sure that you looked at my credits?
What was the name of the female employee at Powers Aviation who is friends with Benny?
Karen,
What, Karen?
her name is Gina La Cochina.
That sounds so nasty.
Can I tell you something? I remembered it was Gina.
Uh-huh.
I did not remember her last name. I don't know what did we mention it once in the entire series?
No.
Oh my God, Cucina was her last name?
No,
Her last name was not mentioned very much.
no, that's not her last name, but he just called her Gina.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I don't remember that.
He just called her Gina La Cochina because, like,
Hey, Paul, this one you gotta get. Because Ken, and I have to go with you out to
Oh,
dinner.
you said La Cucina. All right. Took me. I didn't even hear what you said.
Paul, you
I didn't hear what you
put your
said.
hand on the bell.
It's
You
on.
better get this one. Come on, Paul. What was the theme song for the George Lopez show and by whom?
Paul, Low Rider.
yep. Well, I
By
didn't
who?
know first, but okay.
By who?
I know who it's by, and I'm drawing a blank.
War.
Yeah, War.
Oh,
I mean,
my
I only heard it 50,000 times.
Karen is the winner. You get a certificate and I got to go out with you.
What's the most expensive Christmas gift that the producers ever got the cast and crew on George
Karen,
Lopez?
he's asking you a question.
What is the most expensive gift the producers ever got the cast and crew?
Yep.
A car or Rolex.
A car?
Electric scooter.
A what?
Electric scooters.
Oh,
Got them for the entire crew and cast. It was crazy. And they're not allowed on Warner Brothers lot, and they got in a lot of trouble. People were driving all over the place.
Wow.
I mean, I know I know those kind of things. I really don't remember specifics from the show that much.
No, we just
Like
thank
for
you being
instance, we were watching the other night the Paris Hilton documentary. And we were the first show to have Paris Hilton on after the sex tape. I totally forgot about that. We had Paris Hilton on George Lopez.
She was
wow.
the tutor. She was the tutor.
Max the
remember
tutor, right. Name the episode.
She was the tutor of Max.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you miss it? Do you miss it, Paul?
It was so long ago. It really was. And the thing about George Lopez is when we were on the air, we were against American Idol at its prime.
Wow.
So we did fine. We actually did well considering we were against American Idol, but we always, lost to American Idol. They were like, that was a juggernaut, right? So a lot of people hadn't seen Lopez. We were on for a long time. We had, solid numbers. But then when it went into syndication, a lot of people saw it for the first time. So it was like people would come up to me and they'd say, "You're on George Lopez. I love that show." And I'd be like, "Yeah, that was 2 years ago. That show doesn't exist anymore." Now I think there's been talk at some point, like they might want to try and bring it back.
But do you think,
Oh, really? They would.
Yeah,
actually-
you know how they're bringing like Will and Grace came back. All these shows are coming back. I mean, Lopez would be a prime show to bring back
that would
because
be-
it's very simple and it's built just on, a lot of it is George and
right,
his family. But
would he want to do that, you think?
I'm sure, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in so long, but I'm sure he would.
Right.
Why wouldn't he?
Well,
I think that's the height of his career.
Right. Before we have, we played the game show and you've been an amazing sport. We have like more serious questions to ask you also. But before we
What
do
kind of
that,
questions?
so people don't think that, we rigged this. Do you have one trivia question you want to ask me as your super fan before we continue with the questions? So that.
All right, let me think.
You asked me once what 70s band was on the show.
What 70s actor, famous, played a hairstylist?
Oh, Jimmy Walker.
Very good.
Wow, Karen,
Very solid.
I
Very
told you.
solid. Very solid.
Karen, are you happy that now you get to, you just You're on a show with Paul Kaplan.
Yes,
Executive
amazing
producer.
writer. Amazing.
And you beat him at his own show.
You know what? You could beat me. Anyone could beat me on any show I've ever been on. I don't remember any of it. It's a blur. And Lopez was like, it was long hours. We did a lot of episodes, and you know, and the thing is, half of them I never saw on television because you're on one to the next. You're just doing it, and you're done with the season. The last thing you want to do is go back and watch all the episodes. So I see them now, and I forget things about it. So it doesn't surprise me that someone who's a super fan would know all these things I don't know. What I remember of the show is all the stuff that I did.
Right. Behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, my friends from the show and the writer's room and all that kind of stuff I remember.
Right.
Oh, that's fun.
That's great. So anyway, I wanted to ask you our first question. Can you share with our fans and tell us a time where you needed to change your producer style to accommodate a team or a team member? Can you tell us about a time where you had to do that?
Change my producer style. Well, you got to realize that in TV, producer is a writer. I mean, a line producer handles the physical production, but like a producer, if I was an executive producer, I was like a head writer. So really, my producing, although I mean, we did casting and we did editing notes and those kinds of things, but primarily it was in the writing. And it's a very collaborative thing, and you need everyone to produce. And I just rang my bell by accident. You can edit that out. It's just fun. I didn't get to do it very much when we did the competition, so I did it now. It's a very collaborative process, and you need everyone to produce. And you're on a deadline every week. And so if you're running a writer's room, I would always adjust to keep everyone involved and keep everyone, you know, feeling like they were contributing, even if they weren't always getting things into the script, because you kind of need everybody. And sometimes you're there, you know, the way the process works, you have a show Friday. And if the show is in bad shape on Wednesday, you're rewriting it until it's in good shape. So you could be there till 3 a.m. So you want everyone engaged, you know, and you don't want everyone staring at their cell phones. So I would say, you know, did I adjust? I never really adjusted too much, except for the fact that I adjusted to specific people, you know, to keep everyone kind of involved and not feeling like they were out of it.
So do you think they were more engaged after that amazing Christmas gift of those scooters, those electric scooters?
No. Those were the days. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. There used to be this thing where, like, you give, you know, every Christmas, like, there'd be huge gifts. And if you were a show that was on the air for a number of years, like, they expected pretty good gifts, you know? It's like, especially from the actors who are making, the actors are making millions of dollars. The crew is not. So, like, you had to come through with pretty good gifts, and you'd have, like, meetings where some guy would come in and show you all the gifts, and everyone would discuss what's the good gift. And the scooters were just a huge one. I mean, electric scooters for everybody.
Right.
You know, that was a big one. But, you know, it was like, I mean, all the shows are like that, you know.
So I want to ask you,
like, not anymore.
So you think the most important quality in a TV producer is to get everybody engaged and getting along so the production will go?
There's a lot of, every show is different, and there are a lot of different skills that are important. You know, there's some people that are phenomenal writers and who run a writer's room. They know everything that they want to put in, and they do 80% of the work. There are other people that are great leaders and are not the funniest people, but understand what funny is and get the most out of everyone that they work with. I mean, they're all different. There's so many different type of people that are good, and they're good in different ways. And it's a high pressure job, you know, so because, well, I think it might've been more, because when you're doing 22, or 1 year on Lopez, we did 28 episodes. When you're doing that many episodes, it's a lot tougher. A lot of the shows now are 13 or 12, or, you know, on streaming, it's 12 or 13. That's easier because you have more time. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not, you know, on Lopez, we weren't just doing that week. We had to prepare for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
That's partly why I say I don't remember half the stuff we did, because you know, when we got to show night, it was fun and we were at show night, but we're already worrying about Monday.
Right.
You know?
I want to ask you, what do you look in a script? And did you ever turn down a job either before or after the George Lopez show because it was too controversial? Like, did you ever go?
I've never turned anything down because it was controversial. Because, like, what's controversial? I mean, first of all, it's changed so much, right?
Absolutely.
Half the things we did on Lopez, you couldn't do now.
Right.
You know, I mean, we made fun of things and and a lot of it came from George, but you just couldn't do it now. I've never turned anything down because it was controversial. And that wasn't really anything anyone even thought about until 5 years ago,
Right.
6 years ago, you know?
Right.
The only thing I almost turned down, the only thing I've ever turned down, actually, no, I did turn something down when I was in advertising because they wanted me cigarettes. I didn't want to work on a cigarette account.
Wow.
Okay. So I was just going, that was my next question. Did you, if you didn't agree with something, would you turn it down?
Yeah.
You were just talking about the politically correct stuff.
It's tough for comedy because everything offends somebody. And especially if you push it, 98% of the people might find it funny, but if 2%, can be very vocal on social media or whatever. So comedy has gotten very kind of tricky. It's why so many comedians don't go to college campuses anymore. But on Netflix and in streaming, there's a little more opportunity, but it's just it's really changed. I mean, I feel like very old. I've been doing it a long time, but it's really changed.
That kind of leads me to another question I wanted to ask you is, when exactly did people start becoming so politically correct and offended? Some of the TV shows I grew up watching just would not be allowed to be made today. And, all kidding aside, but even George Lopez today would probably be offensive to some.
Oh, there's so many things we did that would be so offensive to people.
Right. Like what?
I'll give you a list of them. No, I'm not going to say them. I never did any of them. I think that you say, when did people start getting offended? People always got offended. They just, it would be like you get 5 emails of people that were offended and they didn't have Twitter to go on.
Right.
So that's why I say comedy, if you push it, there's always going to be someone that's offended by stuff. And I think a lot of good comedy, people are offended. Even people are offended by Seinfeld now. There's been backlash. There's stuff that is not meant to be offensive. Sorry about that.
I think you really like this bell.
No, that wasn't the bell. That was my computer. I got a text. We'll edit that out. I'll in editing. I'll just totally. But I mean, the difference is not in the people complaining. The difference is that the people complaining have such a loud voice.
They have a different platform to do it today.
Yes, we used to I remember people would complain about things. People would complain about everything from, I forget what show it was, but someone complained about the diction of a character used this word instead of that word and it's improper English. And one of the writers got all offended and said, it's, that's how people talk. We're right. It's not,
Does it make it harder to write right now because of it?
I guess I'm a little bit older and I've been doing this a while and not for me, because I just don't care.
Right.
I can't change.
Right.
Because I know that I joke around and my kids go, Ima, which means in Hebrew, Mom, you're so politically incorrect. And I'm like, sue me. And they get so mad at me.
I mean, in the last couple of years, I've done a lot more movie rewrites than working on TV shows. Just partly because I don't have the same energy to do it anymore. But also, I think that, I'm working on pilots. I want to pitch my own stuff. But, I don't have the energy to be, I've always been nice to people. I've never been bad. I wasn't even worried during the Me Too movement. I'm Me Too clean, So I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done, but writers' rooms, people make jokes all the time about stuff that could be taken the wrong way.
Is being politically correct ruining movies and television?
What do you think? I don't know. I mean, there are still avenues where it's not politically correct. That's why people stream shows. I think that, it's very different now because, when we were young, there were like 4 TV networks, right?
Right.
So shows had to appeal to a mass audience or they weren't popular, right? Now everything is very kind of compartmentalized. You can do a show for 14 to 16-year-old, you never could do that before. So I think certain things would be offensive to certain people, other things wouldn't. I mean, I think that there are a lot of different platforms to do whatever you want to do. So,
because also those platforms, there are so many platforms, it's much harder to make it.
It's actually easier to make it. It's harder to make money.
It's harder to make money, right?
To make a lot of money because everything is based on how many people are seeing your product. So like when I started out, we get like a 14 rating and we'd be like, oh, we're canceled. That's it. We're done.
Right.
It's horrible. That shows how old I am. But now like a 14, I mean, that would be like, that's
right.
crazy. It's half the Super Bowl, and
the same thing happened with branding. It used to be, there was no branding and now every Joe Schmo does branding. And
there's just some more avenues. I mean, when you had 4 places to watch, you picked one. Right. It's not like you said, oh, there's nothing on TV I like, I'm not going to watch. You'd pick what you like the best. And there were 4, 5, 6 channels and all the audience was there. Now there's like, hundreds.
Right.
And kids who are, like my kids who are like 10 to 16, they don't watch TV. They watch their phones. They watch this.
Right.
So it's like the audience is so spread out that it's very different.
What shows right now are you a big fan of in terms of their writing style, being that you're a writer and, you could really identify great writing? Which ones do you?
I always liked Schitt's Creek. I always liked
it. I love it.
I'm watching that right now.
I liked it from and the other thing I liked about it is it changed so much. From season 1 to the final season, the characters really, they were the same, but they went on a journey that was interesting. So I liked that as a comedy. It's like I stream stuff all the time. So I mean, network comedies I don't really watch anymore because they're just not, funny.
It's so funny, there is an episode.
I like my comedy to be humorous. I don't find them funny enough, It's hard for me.
It's funny because there was an episode about the bagel and he goes, you guys would know if it's a good bagel. And he goes, what do you mean, you guys? You mean I'm Jewish? You can say it. You can say it. And he answers him. It's so like, I'm so afraid to say that you're Jewish. I thought that was funny. And I just watched that episode last night. So I want to ask you another question. Taylor Perry is one of the most influential writers, directors, and actors in the country. His 330-acre movie studio is poised to become one of the largest in the United States, if it's not already one of the biggest in the United States. He's bringing basically Hollywood and all the eyes to Atlanta. And they want to make Atlanta to show that Atlanta is a major player in film and television. And now they have the facility to do that. This is just one example about what's going on in the entertainment industry. What are your thoughts about the film and television industry potentially live in California? Do you think, especially with what's going on with California?
I don't think it'll leave 100%, but look it's already left. I mean, years ago, they raised the taxes on film production. Everyone went to Canada. And, I once did a movie rewrite. It was a production rewrite. It was in Connecticut. It was over the summer. And that summer, Connecticut had these great tax breaks for movies. And I went there and there were like 8 movies there. I checked into this hotel and they were, and they said, which movie are you with? I mean, it was like summer camp because, they were giving tax breaks. And so I think production is already leaving. And the other thing is that, the big thing is when I was younger, if you wanted to produce something, if you wanted to make a student movie or something, you had to find an editor, you had to find this, you had to find that. It took a lot of money. Now with the internet, like you have an avenue for distribution. I mean, my kids are so much more impressed with influencers than they are with actors.
Absolutely.
They don't even know actors.
Right.
And I was trying to make this point to someone that, like, you know, the legacy of an actor is not what it used to be. Kids don't even know. They don't even care. I asked my kids, I said, do you know who Paul Newman is? And they're like, the salad dressing guy? He's like, the guy, the salad dressing guy? I'm like, oh no, he was an actor. He's like, really? I thought he was popcorn and salad dressing. I'm like, well, that's probably his biggest legacy, but no, he was a major actor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the internet has changed everything. And, you know, if you're young and you want to be creative, you don't have to wait to sell something, you know, to a studio or this. You can start producing stuff and putting it up. And actually, if you do well, you could always get a TV or movie deal out of it. But the interesting thing is that a lot of these people don't want that. Why would they want to go and do a movie or TV when they're making millions of dollars doing their own thing? So, I mean, I would say in the last 5-6 years, the business has changed more than in the previous 20. And a big part of it is just look at us right now. Right? I don't even have pants on. I'm doing an interview with you guys. I'm kidding. I do. I have pants on. That was a joke. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Scary if you won.
You know what I love about this?
Jumped up and down. That would have been scary. If
you know what I love about this is that I sit down and nobody gets to see my tush or how big it is. That's right when they, you know, when Corona hit, Candy's like, Etty, we are not going to be in the studio. I go, I love that. They'll just see my face and they won't see the other part.
But I mean, it really, I mean, you think of the business side of that 20 years or 15 years ago, the expense in producing stuff, you know, now you can shoot a movie on this. It's like, it's crazy. I have Final Cut Pro on my computer. I can pretty much edit anything I want. I'm not good enough to do a great job, but I could edit a sitcom for sure.
Wow.
You know, on my computer. And you guys could too if you took a class for a month. So it's like you don't need all those other steps, and that's going to really change stuff. So you say, are they going to have production in Atlanta? Why not? Now it'll take time because a lot of the infrastructure is here. And the other thing about entertainment is, you know, for writer, a lot of it is like who you know, like you meet people and you work with people and you know, I've gotten jobs because I ran into someone at lunch. So it does help you to be in that spot, but there's no reason not to do production at other places, especially if it's cheaper. But remember, the other thing about California is the weather's great and the landscape is very varied. I mean, you can do mountains, you can do, you know, so I don't think it's ever going to go
It's so funny
away.
because you're talking about the tax break. When the studios left, they are like, oh, we don't care, they'll be back. And then when they didn't come back, we got to a point where they're begging us to, oh, we'll give you this and you give me this break. But once you saw how cheap it is to produce and to do everything is somewhere else, nobody wanted to come back. So,
once the thing is all the infrastructure, it's the, you know, it's the crew, and there are people now that are in Vancouver. This is what they do for a living, right? They're costume designers or whatever. And so there's a whole series of shows that shoot up there, and it's a lot cheaper. So why wouldn't you do it?
Right. You mentioned Schitt's Creek, and most of them are Canadian. Most of the actors are Canadian, and I think that they possibly shoot it in Vancouver or in Toronto.
I think they shoot it in Canada. I'm not sure where they shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's stuff is shot all over though. I mean, I've worked on things that they're looking at New Zealand, and they look where it's going to be inexpensive to shoot it. And so I don't know if. I think Hollywood, the infrastructure is here. So it's going to take a while to chip away, but it's already been chipped away somewhat. I mean, you know, there stuff is shot all over the place. And like I said, the internet is the big YouTube and influencers. That's the big game changer.
Right. What about Netflix? You know, Netflix is popular, you know, because of what they do offer, great original content, a good selection of other content, and easy and accessible way to get entertainment. I want to know, are you a big fan of that? And
I love it. I don't know. I don't know the business side of it. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable economically. I don't know. I know they, you know, I don't know. But as far as a viewer, it's great.
Right.
You binge watch your shows, which are great. It's fun to watch like that.
What's the last thing you binge watched?
Good Karma Hospital.
Oh,
I didn't watch that.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's on Acorn, actually. Have you heard of Acorn?
Of what?
Acorn TV?
No.
It's all British shows, and it's through Amazon. So someone told me to watch that. I watched. It was good.
Tell me, did you watch Tehran yet?
Yes, I watched Tehran too. That's the other one I just binged.
It's so funny because they bought them. Apple bought them right away. So I don't know. I think there is only 8 episodes right now, but the new ones are coming out.
Well, they finished the season.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Did you see Fauda? Did you see Fauda?
I love Fauda.
Oh.
Fauda's really good too.
Oh, it's.
I mean, there's some good shows that come out of Israel.
Yes. Yes.
And the Beauty was good.
Right.
Fauda was good.
There was the one that the judge was very good also.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, it's excellent.
You guys got to text me your list.
Yes, we will. Well, Paul, this is we're going to work together. You know that. Either you like it or not.
First one I do.
We are going to steal you for a while.
I'm going to watch all the George Lopez shows just so I can catch up.
We're just waiting for you to finish your book, which I want to ask you. Can you tell us a little bit about your book? What are you writing? What is it about?
It's a thriller.
Wow.
It's a thriller. It's like it's a thriller. I originally thought of it as a movie idea, and writing a novel was on my bucket list. So I wrote it during COVID, and I have a TV project where I have the rights to a series of books, and I became friendly with the author, the novelist, Jim Swain. And so I sent it to him, and he gave me notes, great notes, and I'm rewriting, and I'll see if I can get it published. If I get it published, I'll just try and make it into a movie. But it's a thriller. It's like there's a John Wick element to it, but with a female lead.
You are such a producer. Oh, if it doesn't get published, I'll just make a movie out of it.
No, I want it to get published so that then I have a piece of property that I can turn into a movie.
Right.
But I would say writing the book is probably the most fun I've ever had writing, because I don't have to worry about, we could never afford that set, or, they would never, that would be too expensive a stunt. You can just write whatever you want. It's the best. It's like writing animation.
Where do you find
as a producer, because
to write? Where do you find it the easiest to write from? From your home? From
right here.
Okay.
You're looking at it. And when I write with other people, I always do it on Zoom.
Is it more fun than producing, writing in general? I'm
really a writer. I've rewritten a lot of movies, and movies are director, producers, medium, writers are, they're nothing. But TV is a writer's medium. So the person who writes the pilot is the producer. They do the casting, they sit on the editing. So, I am really a writer. I like the producing side of it a little bit in TV, but I really like a lot of people. There are people in TV who are writers, and the minute they, become executive producers, they just want to be on stage. They want to be in editing. I'm the guy that still likes to be in the writer's room.
Oh,
I like that other stuff, and I like to watch the feed from the stage to make sure we're getting what we need when I've been on those shows, but I like to be in the writer's room. I like to write. So, producing is, I don't like it as much.
Well, Paul, we are going to work with you very soon. We're just waiting for you to finish the 2-3 projects that you're working on. We really like you. We like your sense of humor.
I don't believe it. I'm gonna have to watch a lot of these and see if you tell everyone that you like them.
Well,
you ever say to someone, you know what? I gotta be honest. We don't like you that much.
It's so funny.
We thought we were gonna like you.
I have to tell you something really, really funny. When I was writing the ending, I have to tell you the truth. I was like, oh my God, the guy wrote, he wrote a lot of the George Lopez episode. The guy's a legend. So Karen said, you can't call him a legend.
I'm not a legend.
Because you called somebody else a legend. And I look at Karen and go, well, I think an icon is good. And she goes,
no. I was a working writer. That's what I would say. I'm not a legend. I've had a nice career.
You're an icon in your field.
When I didn't create the George Lopez show. That was Robert Borden, who's a good friend of mine. He created it. I came on. It was on how many years? 5?
No, more.
More.
It was on 6, and I was on for 5 of it. I wasn't on the first season. I came on, and I ran. There were 2 writers' rooms, and I ran one of them. And then Robert left, and then I ran the show with the guy.
How did you get there, George Lopez? How did you get that position?
I had an overall deal at Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted me to work on, that was part of the deal, that they wanted me to work on Lopez. And at the time I was coming off Just Shoot Me. It wasn't like a huge hit show, but you know what? It was a good show. And George was great. George really worked hard. He got a lot better, and he was likable in front of the, audience. He was really funny in front of the audience, and very serious about, the work and being good. And it was a fun show. I was with the same group of people for 5 years. We got very close.
Are you still friends with them?
Who was your favorite character on it?
What?
Who was your favorite character on George Lopez?
I liked them all for different reasons. I liked Benny a lot. I liked George a lot. The guy who played Ernie, I loved. Do
you keep in touch with any of them? Because I know with us too, you get so close to people, and then when we finish a project, we are like, yeah, we'll keep in touch. We go a couple times, and then unless we meet them in another project, in the next project or something, and then we reconnect.
It's an interesting thing, the way a writer's room works. It's like, if you're on a show for a long period of time, I mean, it's different if you're on 13 and out, but if you're on a show for 3 or 4 years, I've been on 4 shows for like multiple years. And yeah, there's some turnover, but like you get to know the people because you're with them for like 12 hours a day. I mean, you know more about them than their spouses. I've talked people out of, like, there was once a guy came in, he's like, I got to get a divorce. We talked him out of it. They're still together. I mean, the people so well, you're like a family. And then it ends, you're like, oh, we're going to keep in touch. And then you never see them again. You go on your next show and you make a new fun. And you some of them you keep in touch with here and there. And I have some good friends that I still, I'll talk to once in a while. But it's an interesting thing because it is that you get very close to people. And not only do you get close, but you know them so well.
Right.
You're stuck in
I want to ask you, since you do write comedy, did you ever think of going on stage with your own comedy? No. I've
written a lot of jokes for people that are stand-ups. I never thought of doing stand-up.
Oh.
I went through the Second City, like, improv school in Chicago when I was in advertising, just for fun. And it was fun. I mean, I like it, but, I just liked writing better. I didn't want to audition or do anything like that.
Right. I wanted to ask you, before Etty closes us out for today, I wanted to ask you, do you think that between Corona and Netflix, that movie theaters will be able to recover?
I don't know. There are a bunch of things that like my kids who are teenagers, they still want to go to the movies as an event type thing. But, Netflix, televisions, I mean, think when we were young, we didn't have 60-inch TVs that were better quality than a movie theater. Right? Everyone says you want to see it on the big screen. Now you go to a movie theater, you're like, it's not as good as my TV. It's not high def. It's not this and that. So I think that you're going to see, I don't know if movie theaters are going to die, but I think you're going to see the model change where people pay to see a movie that's released at home. You know what I mean? When it first comes out, it's going to have to. But it's hard for me to predict. I mean, everything changes. Everything,
You think drive-in movies will come back? Drive-in?
I don't know about that. That would be tough. I don't think people are going to be driving their own cars in 2 years. In 20 years, no one's going to be driving cars. They're all going to be self-driving.
Right.
I don't know if drive-ins will come back.
That's why my husband got the Tesla.
It's really hard to predict. The one thing I can predict is that whatever people are watching, we have no idea what it's going to be now.
Right.
Who knows what the method or the, what it'll be. I'm not sure. But you know, people are very spoiled with how they want to view their entertainment now. They don't want to see commercials. They don't want, you know, like,
Right.
just think of that younger generation coming up. They don't understand, you know, waiting to see something, or, you know.
Right, because there is so much information coming at them that they don't have the patience that
And they can watch whatever they want. They
Right.
watch it on their phones.
Right.
I mean, I can't remember the last time my whole family watched something on a TV. I did a movie a couple years ago, and there were a bunch of teenagers in it. And so I had my daughter bring a bunch of her friends over and read it, because I wanted to make sure, you know, that I wasn't just some old guy talking the way teenagers did in the 90s, right? And none of the dialogue, they didn't flag any of the dialogue, but they flagged things like, this kid said he saw it on TV. It's like, no one watches TV. Say he saw it on, you know, Instagram or something. Like, everything was, you know, the way they view the way they view intake all their entertainment is so different. So I think that's the big difference. And that's also, I mean, in some ways it's bad, in some ways it's great. Like, if you want to break in, if you want to start out, I always tell people, if you want to break in, start posting stuff, start producing stuff. Even if it's not good, if it is good, you know, you have a means to reach people.
Right.
You know, you might never have to get a deal. Maybe you'll be your own deal. It's just, that's the big difference. That's the big difference. I mean, the business, since when I started, I mean, it's changed like, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
It's much harder for us, the older crowd. It's for us to do the transition, even in branding, it was very hard. And my youngest daughter, who is 10 years old, she would look at me and go, Ima, nobody's going to watch this. Or she'll tell me, don't get this person to promote you, get an influencer. And I'm like, who? And then she'll show me a YouTuber. And I go, what's so great about this? She goes, you don't find this funny? And it's so funny because I look at her and go, no, the guy's just like doing stupid things. She goes, that's what makes it funny.
But that guy has 5 million people watching him.
Right.
And no one else knows who he is, right? No one else. So like, if you say to someone who's, you know, this influencer, they won't know, but he has more people watching him than most TV shows. And they're much more engaged. It's much more of a personal thing. So if he says, hey, I tried this product, it's great, having him say that is so much more effective than a TV commercial. So it's really an interesting thing. And for a while, there was a period where TV networks wanted to try and get influencers on their networks. The problem is they can't act. They can't act. That's not what they do.
Right.
But the other thing that happened was influencers like, I don't want to be on TV. Why would I want to be on? I have this. You know, I'm on, you know, maybe in a movie with a famous actor, but, you know, it's really interesting. So that's a big change too. But for me, I just write whatever I want to write that is personal to me, because, you know.
Paul, we want you to stay after the show. I'm going to do the closing, but I want you to stay on right after.
All right. Do I get paid extra for that? How is that going to, in the check, how does that come? Is that going to be a separate check, or is that just?
It's just you know what? I decided I'm going to take you and Karen out to dinner.
Okay.
Yay.
Paul, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You are an icon. I want you to
I'm not, please don't say it. I'm not an icon.
Yes, you are, because you know what? Yes, you are. You know.
I have 2 requests.
Yes.
Don't say I'm an icon.
Okay.
And airbrush me. When you post this. Put a filter.
Okay, can I say that you're a phenomenal writer and super funny?
Yes.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
Say that.
We wish you much success with your new book and future projects. Some of those projects we're hoping that you'll do with us.
Okay.
I want you to know that both Karen and I know she's a bigger fan of the George Lopez show, but we are both very super fans of the show and other shows that you did, that you wrote and co-produced. You know, we're going to have another show when your book is published, or if you make it you make it into a movie. We would like to thank all our followers for listening to this episode. Please remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at Yentas In The City. You could also write us at dearyentas@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and answer your letters on our weekly advice column. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Soft Smart, System International, and Conquest Realty Investment. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We have a lot more coming. This is Etty Elkis and Ken Cohen, and we're Yentas City. Stay
Thank
safe.
you, guys.
Thank you so much for coming.